You are now listening to the smooth sounds of Love Atia. Ciao, beautiful souls. My name's Atia, and I am your future bestie in your head. I am a sex-positive animal activist. I grew up in Queens, New York, and was homeschooled/unschooled for about 12 years. I was a virgin until I was 24 and attempted to have a hoe phase for 2 years, which eventually led me to being accidentally/intentionally celibate. And here we are today. My past left me with a lot of wild stories, a lot of lessons, and a hell of a lot of trauma. Thank God for my wicked sense of humor, because God only knows I would have perished by now. With that being said, this is your gentle reminder that the Love Atia experience was created as a safe space for me to reflect and share the lessons that I've learned from past traumas. Shit gets real on this podcast, and topics such as domestic violence, sexual assault, substance abuse, depression, anxiety, and suicide may be referenced. If you are working through feeling triggered by certain topics, this may not be the show for you right now, and that's okay. Healing takes time and isn't linear. I'll be here when you're ready. Now, without further ado, the Love Atia experience is an experience. So get ready for laughs, crazy story times, and life-changing pleasure tips here on the Love Atia Experience podcast. Hello, my love bugs, you babe and babettes. I hope that you're feeling absolutely amazing. I know you just listened to this whole intro where I gave you a mini trigger warning, but this is your official trigger warning that in this episode, we have some powerful conversations about childhood sexual assault, molestation, and rape. So if these are conversations that may be triggering to you while you are on your healing journey, it is totally okay to come back to this episode another time where you feel like you may be in a safer space to listen to this, okay? I also wanted to be sure to mention that there are some times, this is my first interview on Zoom, but there are some times where like I am dying laughing and you cannot even hear me because for whatever reason Zoom just doesn't register laughs. So if you hear an awkward pause, it's just because I'm laughing, but it's just laughing in silence for whatever reason. With that being said, I have a Patreon. You can feel free to join my Patreon and support my journey of trying to buy a microphone for this podcast so that y'all can hear me officially clearly. You go to patreon.com and look up the Love Atia experience, or just click the link in the description. That's it. Those are all my disclaimers. I am so excited to share with you this absolutely amazing and wonderful episode and to introduce to you the wonderful, the beautifully created, the Gross Demon Alex Monroe. Hello, everybody, and welcome to, that's not how I greet people. Okay. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Love Atia experience. It's your girl, Love Atia, and I am here with the absolutely amazing, the Gross Demon Alex Monroe.
Hello, Internet Nation. Welcome to, I guess, our episode of the Love Atia podcast. Yay, I made it.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here. This is absolutely our episode. We are going to talk about any and every freaking thing. I think this is going to be a really, is the word transformative? I guess transformative episode. I have some questions here, so if you see me looking down at my phone, it's just because I'm like making sure I'm asking everything.
All right.
I just want to start off with like an introduction. I actually really want to ask you, because I asked all my guests this, like your recollection of how we met. So we can go with the introduction first and then the recollection of how we met.
Okay. I definitely remember from like the TPP days, because the TPP days are very fond to my heart. That is like the one time I got to experience and live my true self as a theater kid, especially like the combination of theater and trauma dumping.
Yes.
It just makes my soul so happy, especially that second year where I got a major role in like production and as a character.
Yep.
So like I remember, honestly, like you started inspiring me back from those days. I just remember you being this happy, positive ball of like energy and love. And I was just like, yes, I love Atia. I would like to be friends, and I'm so glad that we have like a relationship now.
Yeah,
because like you get it, you get me, and I just want to be a part of your journey, and I've always wanted to be a part of your journey. I just loved watching you be yourself, and it made me want to be my unhinged self too. You know.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because right before the show started, I was literally telling Alex that like That's how I felt. Like I feel like you are the unapologetic person in all the beautifulness that you are that has inspired me. So it's beautiful that it's a tandem mutual feeling.
That's like the best feeling when it's mutual.
Yes, that's how friendship should be. Like you should be able to inspire each other and just pour into each other. So thank you so much for that. And please tell the world who you are, what you do, what you're all about, all that good stuff.
Well, I'm the Gross Demon Alex Monroe, creator of the Unperfectly Toxic brand, even though I barely ever talk about that brand anymore. But it's still alive and well, and technically more of a lifestyle than like a brand, if anything.
Okay.
Because, like, if you're going to be anything, well, let me just start by saying my idea of perfection is something existing as it should. So, like, you're not going to go out and be like, oh, that tree was burnt by thunder or something and it was on fire at one point. It's less beautiful than it was in its heyday. No, it's still perfect. It's still existing as it was meant to. It's still living in God's plan, as
Yes.
one might say. So I feel like in order for a person to be perfect, they must be unperfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole toxic part comes in because you know how it is when you're your most unhinged self. People hate that shit. They act like it's a personal attack against them and they act like you're a fucking demon.
Yes.
So, I just took that, made it into the gross demon moniker because I find like people tell me I'm not gross all the time, but if you get to know me, I'm a gross motherfucker. Like, so I just put the two together and that's where the gross demon comes from. But like, I guess porn life aside, because the gross demon is mostly what I use for porn. I'm an artist and an artist and a heathen, just creating things on the internet because creation is the one thing I know how to do in life.
Yes. And not a lot of people know how to do that. So that's a really beautiful trait. I love it. What inspired your name, the Gross Demon, Alex Monroe?
Well, it's more kind of like, for one of those taking back my power kind of things, because in being myself and being like, I started noticing after bringing it back to City at Peace again, because that program kind of broke me. It took me from somebody that never spoke my mind and was like reclusive in my shell to somebody that couldn't shut the fuck up about how I was feeling and what I didn't want in my life,
Yeah.
So after I started doing that, I realized people started liking me less and kind of demonizing me. I don't really see myself as a demon. If anything, I see myself more as an angel that looks like a demon. So I kind of took on the moniker of a demon. And as I just said, I'm a gross ass motherfucker. But I'm not going to be ashamed about that because being ashamed would mean that I would have to change. So why not just embrace it, Because I'm not going to stop being gross. For one, I exist in a human body, so that's not possible. And Alex is just my name. The Monroe bit comes from being a huge Marilyn Monroe stan.
Okay. Okay. I love that so much for you. I really do. Oh, and side note, for the people who might not know, TPP and City at Peace are this like acting program that we were both in. That's how we met. And it was for like, I want to use quotes like inner city youth, because I feel like that's such like a weird, like, yeah, I'm an inner city, like I'm living in the city, but it was like we would get to go to this program. We were on the Saturday cast, right? Or was it the Tuesday, Thursday?
Yeah. And technically, theoretically, our cast was the inner city cast.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like we, like you said, got to sit down and trauma dump. Like we literally would sit in a chair at some point in the program and like express like all of the like crazy things that we've been through, and then they make a play about it, or we make a play about it. But
we literally trauma dumped to each other, and then we made it everybody's problem. It's so fun.
And made great friendships through it.
It really did.
Absolutely.
Honestly, like, I don't know what it's like now, but if the same people that are still running it are in control, I recommend anybody listening to this get involved in it.
Yeah.
Watch a show. It's one of those things that's going to make you realize you need to change. The world needs to change. You might not be as okay as you are. And also singing and dancing about it is fun as fuck.
It's like, this is my trauma. I am depressed. What?
And then you have the parents come out and they have to be faced with all of that. It's amazing.
That part, because I remember they had me in the last, I remember I switched to the Tuesday, Thursday cast at one point, and they had me, like, my parents were literally in the midst of getting a divorce, and they had me, like, acting as my mom. I was like, oh, I can't do this.
It
So,
sounds so messy now.
doesn't it? Like, when you really vocalize it, but I learned so much. And you know what's crazy? Is I feel like the friendships that I made in the program, like you and I don't know if you remember Olivia, like, I really formed friendships more so as I got older. Like, yes, we were cool.
Yeah.
Like, we talked and had conversations and all that stuff. We were in the same team group for our first year. But like, the older I got and the more I found myself, I feel like then I was really able to like be all that I wanted to be and then create the friendships that I wanted to create. So that was like an interesting aspect of it. Yeah. So I actually want to get into a breakdown of some, because we just kind of dove in and I love that for us. So I'm just going to do our icebreaker. It's not really an icebreaker, but it's really for the audience to get to know you. So
Okay.
first I want to know your pronouns and your sexual orientation.
I go by they, them. I mean, technically I use any pronoun because my identification is weird. I feel like a very flamboyant gay dude who wants to be a pretty female, which is the weirdest place to exist because technically I'm a very attractive female, but
Absolutely.
I have this weird sense of body dysmorphia. Like I'll see a cute girl and I'll be like, damn, I wish I was a cute girl. And then I have to go, wait, you are a fucking cute girl. And like, I thought about it in high school, my whole identity, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I feel male, but also genitals freak me out. So I thought about it and I was like, do I want a penis? Do I want to consider a sex change? And then I was like, no, I don't want a penis because then it's going to move on its own at times and have a brain. Like, I don't want to deal with that.
Yes.
I would rather have nothing. If I can't have both, I would rather have nothing.
Yes.
So it just bring me to the, okay, then I'll just be non-binary because if I'm not going to pursue being male, like I feel like after I have kids, because I feel like if I have kids, if I get a breast reduction and then I have kids and then it gives me boobs, I'm gonna freak out. So I'm gonna have kids, and then when I'm done having kids, then I'll get a breast reduction because you can pretend a vagina isn't there. Aside from when it's bleeding, you can pretend it's not. As far as orientation goes, I'm a pansexual. I just like people. I don't really care how they identify as long as they're cool people.
Yes, I love that so much. Hopefully by the end of this conversation, our conversation can help me figure out what the fuck my sexual identity is. So thank you for that.
Honestly, don't even think about it because like I also identify as asexual. I am the most like aside from anime boys and pretty girls and well, I guess pretty girls and literally any being who is at 50% masculine and feminine, I don't really fucking know how to consider it. Like I'm sex repulsed. I don't like individuals. If you hit on me, it's gonna make me feel gross. But if like we have a conversation and I'm like, wait, this person is kind of on the same wavelength, they could teach me some shit. Then suddenly the juices are flowing,
Come on,
so like I just stick with asexual, maybe like demisexual, pansexual, because that's just the simplest thing you can say to somebody that lets them get the picture.
Yeah, like they get, no, seriously, because if I was to say to somebody like I'm bisexual, it creates this whole narrative and this whole other conversation and it's too much. So I feel like pan makes more sense, especially for me as well. Like I'm attracted to everyone except heterosexual men. I couldn't even get it out. I was like I can't, like I'm like 2% attracted. You get it. You get it.
I get it. There's just I don't know, like for one, if they're not in tune with their feminine side, I don't want it. Like if I have to fight the emotions out of you, I don't want it.
Thank you.
If you're not gonna like if we can't do girly shit together, girly shit, if we can't like pamper each other and just like have a moment of appreciation for another individual despite their like gender, what is the point? Like I can't deal with the what's the word? Insecurity.
Yeah, that hypermasculinity, that there's so many words.
And you can't even like blame them so much because when you really sit down and look at what heterosexual cishet males have to deal with, it's horrible. They're being failed by society. And
Yes.
it's like you want to help them, but it's so ingrained in how they operate that there's literally nothing you can do if they don't also see it and want to change.
Yes. 1,000%. I feel the same way. At one point, somebody said I was misandrous. Is that it? I was doing misandry. I don't know when you like talk shit about men.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel compassion for them because, like you said, when I realized that they really can't help themselves, like unless they're conscious and are actively putting in the work to like go against society, it really is like ingrained and embedded. So it takes like a lot of unconditioning. So I highly agree. Thank you for that because I've had that pent up in my heart for a while. So it's just nice to speak to somebody who can highly relate.
Honestly, like I know I'm petty for this, but this is why I distinctively use the term males and men. There are
Mm,
males, a majority of them are males, and then there are men, you know?
yeah.
Men, they can handle emotions, they can handle insecurity. I mean, not insecurity, they can handle security. They
Yeah.
can like express themselves, they can be confident in that shit, they can like take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Males, not so much.
No. No, that's deep. How do you feel about the word female? Because like I was never really like super against it unless it's like used in a specific kind of way, like in a derogatory way. But otherwise, like, how do you feel about it?
As a non-binary potential autistic individual, I am confused by the like depends on the context, I'll say that,
Yes.
because as a person who understands I am biologically female
Mhm.
but does not identify as that, I feel there is a time and a place to specify and use certain words. But
Mhm.
when people are talking about like women
Yeah.
specifically and they just say females, like I can understand talking about females.
Yeah.
Like I'm a female. And if you want to include me in your sentence, I can understand using the word. But
Yes.
if you're just referring to females as in you want to bring them down a notch as if
Yeah.
they are not women, as
Yeah.
like women and not like you're saying they're girls,
Right.
like in that sense I feel that it's derogatory. In other senses, if you're just trying to be inclusive or specify, I can understand that.
Yes.
But I'm also a really literal motherfucker, so I take everything for face value.
Mhm. Too. I too am like officially undiagnosed, like autistic. Like I don't. I'm just like figuring it out and learning. And also, I believe I have ADHD as well. So just like
Yeah.
neurodivergent hottie, right? And like the literal shit, and then people make you feel crazy for
Yeah.
taking what you say literally. I'm like, so what the fuck am I? I'm not supposed to assume. So what am I supposed to do? Just not. Period.
My bro is like that. He will literally say something and then I'll respond to it. And he'll be like, no, I didn't say that. I meant this. And I'm like, no, you said this. So why would I think that you meant that?
Exhausting. It's so tiring. And then like eventually you have like once you learn us, right? And then you learn how literal we are, don't you think there should be a slight adjustment or maybe just become more conscious of what you say around us? You know what I'm saying? But I learned like officially at 29 years old that people are just like, oh, I just be saying stuff. Like that's their thing. Like, you could just say stuff. Did you know that? I didn't know that. I did not.
Honestly, I wish I didn't know that because I feel like I learned that a while ago that it didn't matter what I said in half
Okay.
of my conversations because people are just talking to talk and they're going to respond. Like a lot of times I will not engage in a conversation because people will say something
Uh-huh.
and it's like, you don't want a response from me. You want me to ask a follow-up question. I
Yes.
don't want to ask a follow-up question. That's what the initial question was for. And if you don't want to give me all the information, I don't want to fight you, you know? And you would think that after a while, it would be easier, like a breath of fresh air to talk to us because
Yes.
all you have to do is say exactly what you mean. And if we don't understand it, we're going to be like, what do you mean by that? Can you elaborate? Because we don't fucking know and we
Thank
don't want to
you.
assume.
Thank
Well, at
you.
least me and you, we don't want to assume.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, because apparently there's another side of the population that doesn't mind assuming either. There's like that group too. I'm like, okay, whatever. You just try your best and you call it a day. My mom just said the same thing. She's like, somebody said something to her, and then like it was like an awkward pause, and then she like asked the question back to the girl or whoever it was, and then she was like, I forgot that you're supposed to like ask back. Like people ask you stuff, you ask them. Like they don't care about your stuff. They just want you to ask them. So yes, you hit the nail on the head. Oh my God. Okay. And can you believe that wasn't even the official icebreaker? Like there's actual icebreaker questions. Okay, no, I'm serious. Okay, you ready? Well, it's 5 sex questions, by the way, like random
Okay.
questions. Okay. What's your dirtiest sexual fantasy?
I don't know how to answer this. I'm a
Okay.
heathen.
Okay.
I feel I feel like a lot of things are just very normal to me. I'd be
Oh,
talking to my bro and I'm like, so I said this, and then they were like a little stunned, and I'm like, wait, is that not normal?
that's not what you're supposed to say.
But I will say, I do have a lot of rape fantasies.
Okay. All
Like,
right.
my boyfriend once told me that he wanted to hold me at knife point in an alleyway, and I was just like, when is this gonna happen? Can you just catch me slipping? Here is my schedule.
Oh
Can like
shit. Oh, would you say it's a rape kink or just the fantasies?
definitely a kink. Like
Okay.
I am a power bottom, and I feel like most people do not comprehend the combination of the words power bottom.
Mm. Can
Like
you?
I am really into giving my power away, you know?
Oh. That's what a power. No, I can't even lie. Like as sex positive as I am, I never knew that's what the fuck a power bottom meant. Like I don't know why. I always thought of it like you. This is literally my definition in my head, right? Like you wanting to peg somebody, or like no, no, because then they'd be the bottom. But
Yeah.
be power. I don't know. I don't even fucking know now. But this just makes so much sense. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm learning so much.
I say like it means I don't want to say it means whatever you want it to mean because as a literal motherfucker who hates abbreviations and all the code names popping up all over the place, but like as far as like kink and sex and all that stuff goes, a lot of the time it means what you want it to mean. When I say power bottom, like I mean I am super submissive, extremely submissive. You
Okay.
know, like that requires a lot of trust.
Yes.
Like, fuck it. Just to express, like, my current partner, who
Mhm.
I refer to as my twin flame a lot of the times,
Okay.
is real bad with him because, like, as a semi narcissist who is really into myself, like, I don't think anybody else would have a chance if there was a clone of me. Even if I had a twin and we were identical, I worry about the implications of what that would bring. So it's like to me, he is what I would be as a male.
Ah.
I He exists in me, you
Mm.
know? And like I just want to give it all to him. It's a real problem. Like I will literally I remember there was one time I wanted to tell him to stop touching me. And I was like, all right, brain, tell the mouth to tell him to stop. If you tell him to stop, he's gonna stop. And I was just
Wow.
couldn't do it because I literally wanted him to touch me so bad that I could not tell him to stop because why am I gonna lie to you and me in this current situation when you're just doing what I want you to do? So
Wow.
like now that we are in a relationship where we can actually indulge in that, I just want to fight him because as a person who has had to be so like tough and strong and like fight battles and protect myself from people to
Mhm.
be faced with a person that I actively want to give myself to and like let him have his way with me and just put myself in an entirely allowing space to just be like allow him to do what he wants with me. It puts me in a conflicting space, but at the same time it's just like, but why are you fighting? This is what you want. Just like open up. You know, if you get hurt, you get hurt because that too is a part of life, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Wow. No, this like makes me really excited about like trying some like real submissive shit now. Cause I feel like I'm a little bit of a verse, but like I think that you just put it in such a powerful way that like you trust him so much to like be so submissive and just like allow your body, allow him. Like that shit is so fucking powerful. Like, yeah. Shit.
It is. And I try to remember that because, like, for one, like, as I've engaged in kink play with other people as well, I've allowed them to have their way so much, but not to the same degree where it's just like, no, here is my consent.
Mm-hmm.
Just straight out. This is for whenever the fuck you want.
Consent-free card. Not free, but consent card. Yeah.
Yes, we have established a safe word.
Yes.
No is not the safe word. So if you don't hear the safe word, just ignore everything else.
Okay.
But it's never been like that with other people, where
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, I would like to have this moment with you compared, like, I don't know if you're familiar with the website FetLife, but on FetLife, they allow you to choose your settings and your preferences and like how you live the life. I'm one of those people that lives it 24/7.
Okay.
As far as like he goes, he brings it out 24/7. He brings out the brat in me. He brings out the little in me. He brings out the submissive in me. Compared to other people where it's just like, I exist in this space and I am whatever I am in the moment, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fully fucking understand. Why did I always think that Fet Life was like something for Jamaicans? Like, I don't know why. So,
Specific.
what?
That's so specific.
I don't know why. And I really can't even tell you what the correlation would be in my head as to like why I think that. But can you let me know what Fet Life is?
It's like MySpace
Oh.
for kinky people. Pretty much. Like, I don't know. I know it's not what it used to be back when I was in my 20s when I first started using it, but like it's a handy website if you know how to navigate. I mean, granted, the BDSM world is a complicated sphere in general. And I feel like for submissives specifically, you have to go into it knowing where you're coming from and what you want. Because there are a lot of people who are submissive coming from a place of trauma. And it's like one thing to enjoy your trauma from a sexual place, but like there's been so many situations I've seen somebody who allows somebody to do whatever they want to them because they feel they deserve it, not because they derive any sense of pleasure from it. And there are so many doms out there, especially fake daddies, because littles are potentially one of the most traumatized. I don't want to make it like I'm a little myself, so I understand where the mindset can come from. And it's not like you're not gonna, unless you were just a motherfucker that was allowed free range of your childhood and your parents never forced you to grow up and they understood that you could possibly have that childlike era and still function in the adult world. Unless that is the case, a lot of the times people hold on to the little aspects from a place of trauma. And daddy doms see that and take advantage of that trauma. Fake daddy doms see that and take advantage of that trauma. They take advantage of the submissives who don't understand that where they're coming from is from their trauma. So like FetLife is a social media for kinky people. You can meet people on FetLife. There's an event tab, so you can always, there are things called munches, which are basically like lunches for kinky people to meet in a public setting that is, public, safe, a bunch of like people can see you. It's a public establishment. You can just meet people in a nice platonic place, and like make relationships that way. There are also a lot of like gangbangs. There's so many girls on FetLife that just want to be gangbanged. And like it's a website that if you know how to utilize it, like there are groups that are for specific things and like tags, so you can like see what everybody's kinks are on their webpage and what position they play and what they're looking for, if they want a like relationship or not. But it's one of those things that you have to know how to navigate. Otherwise, I mean, same with the BDSM world. You have to know how to navigate it. Otherwise, you can get real fucked up.
Yeah, it sounds like I feel like I would need a full blown tutorial. Like everything that you just shared to me, like gave me like an enlightened view of it. But I feel like I would need like a breakdown to make sure I'm doing it like right, if that makes sense. Because
honestly, I feel like that's how people should go into the BDSM world in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as I said, there are so many traumatized people and people trying to take advantage of that trauma. So I
Yeah.
feel like if you're going to go into the space, you need somebody who's going to be able to look out for you and like make sure it's like, if you get a dumb, do they actually care about you? Do they understand that you are the one with all the power? Because if they think like, even my dom, he understands, despite the fact that I give him everything, that is my personal choice, and he respects that. You know, so you have to make sure that like the people, they're in it for the right things, that they've actually derived pleasure from your pleasure. And even if it's just like, oh, I want to use people, you have to make sure that is what you're consenting to.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like when you're going into it, unless you're coming from a place that is completely clear-minded and you can like keep track of all your decisions and keep everybody accountable and everything is like, I don't want to say documented, but like, you know what I mean? Just like make sure everything is clearly stated out and everything to the T, because like scenes, like, I don't want to say scenes are like how they are in fucking 50 Shades of Grey, but like it can be as serious as signing a contract, you know?
I'm a contract girly. I love me a good contract. I love me a good document. I need everything in writing. I need pictures, screenshots, proof, everything. Like, just cause.
Yeah, because you keep track of everything.
Yeah. Yes, literally.
As I say, everything must be done with enthusiastic consent.
We love it. No, you're not a sure or no, fucking hell the fuck yes. Like, yes, absolutely. I feel like that's not talked about enough. They don't even talk about consent in school, so they're not going to talk about enthusiastic consent at all.
They really don't.
I love what you said and hate that they don't teach about consent in schools. I was gonna say I love that, but then it was right after I just said that consent. You turn that up. It's crazy because like I am gonna get to these other questions, but you just unlocked this whole other fucking world in my head about like kink and like now I feel like I don't know if I want to make this this episode's gonna be whatever it's gonna be, but like I do just want to talk a bit more about kink because I know you mentioned like littles and I watched this podcast Horrible Decisions. I mention it all the time, and they had a woman on there who had she identified I guess is a proper terminology like identified as a little or she was a little.
I usually say she was a little. You also say she identified. Either works, I guess.
Okay. And then she like was able to tap in like in that moment and like show like how she would talk, how she would act. And so in my mind, and please correct me if I'm wrong, like a little is like you're basically kind of connected to your inner child and
Pretty
then
much.
just act that out in okay, got you. Okay. And then the daddy dom would
literally like that's what it is. I went to a like BDSM getaway thing. Basically, like we had this whole hotel rented out, and there was just a bunch of kinky people. There was a corner for the littles with a giant teddy bear in there. Literally, at one point, we were all just hanging out, coloring, making bracelets, and that playing with stickers and shit. That's literally like that. If that's all you want it to be, doesn't even have to be sexual. Like a little doesn't have to be sexual if you don't want it to be.
Wow. That is so deep. So it cannot be sexual, but still you can be around like the kink community, even if you're not feeling sexual.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like that's literally what kink is. It's whatever you want it to be. Like kink is a safe space for whatever you want to do, which is why like I don't want to make it sound like there is no place for trauma in BDSM because there is a vast place for trauma in BDSM. If anything, BDSM could be a beautiful way to work through your trauma because like just imagine being tightly wound and then you find a person that you can trust enough to tie you up. Like, you know? And just the feeling of I gave this person my trust. They did what I wanted them to do. It felt good. We bonded. We cuddled after. We did whatever we want to do for aftercare. We talked about it. That's healing. Like, you know, especially as a little and you get to revert to that place that you didn't get to have as an actual kid. You know, you find a daddy dom who actually wants to be there and like take care of you. And now you have somebody that actually makes you feel cared about, you know?
Yes.
It can be so healing if you're doing it right.
Yes. I feel like people very often think of like the kink community and BDSM as like such a disconnected community. Like they think that like, oh, you can't be like demisexual and then be in the BDSM community, or you can't be like emotional or whatever the case may be. Like they make it just such a disconnected um
No.
realm. Yeah, and it's not. This sounds like very healing to me if done right, like you said, if done correctly. Yeah.
It's literally whatever you want it to be. Like like I don't know. There's so many things that fall under fucking kink. Like furries can fall under kink if you wanted to. You know, fucking they're littles. They're for one. Imagine how nice the fucking daddy doms feel that they get to like take care of somebody. Because some dudes just want to be soft and
Wow.
taller and be vulnerable with somebody. You know,
Wow. Yeah.
fucking they're the what are they called? Horse players, the pony players. They're having fun. There are literally so many people dressing up, tying each other up, playing with electricity, water play, fucking torturing each other.
Wow.
Literally anything you want it to be.
Is cosplay considered a kink?
I feel like it could be used for kink purposing, but
Okay.
cosplay in itself isn't necessarily a kink thing.
Okay.
Just like how do you say it? Furryism, the
Yeah.
furries that dress up in
Yeah.
fursuits, not necessarily a kink. It's just cosplay to a degree.
Got
Like
you.
it can be used for kink,
Got you.
but just because some people fuck in their fursuits doesn't mean everyone fucks in their fursuit.
I got you. Oh my God. I love this conversation. Like, I'm learning a lot, and now it makes me want to go down this huge rabbit hole about kink. Like, I want to learn every single kink that exists. Like, I don't know. I just want to, because I had a really
Don't
good
do that.
conversation. You said don't.
Honestly, it could be a scary place. Like, for one, because of my porn career, I have such a massive following of scat lovers, and I
Mm,
understand how I got here. I just wish I wasn't here.
wow.
That is what I get asked for the most. And as a germaphobe, I don't want to do that. So I would like the fun kinks, you know, like where are my vor people at? Where are my feet people at? You know, where are the people
Yeah.
that want to see me cover myself in food? Where are you at?
Yes. Where my hungry folk at? I love that. I love that so much. What's really crazy about scat play is that when I was younger, right? Like probably 13, 14, I low key feel like it was younger than that, but maybe around, let's just say 13. My dad was going, I don't even know. I feel like his computer was like broken or some shit. Somehow he went on my computer and
Oh,
had like typed in some shit. Maybe like say he typed in Google, right? But then gross sex came up. And he was like, what is my baby watching? And like I used to really be obsessed with like people pooping, people like to this very day, if I find like a good fart video, I'm like, oh yeah, like fart. Like I don't know, like it's just something about that I was always so fascinated about until I found out that I had emetophobia. And then Two Girls in One Cup came out, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to see it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to see the clips. So that's where it's like, because if I know that there's one and then vomit can happen, I'm like, oh no. So
oh,
that's
damn.
my
Okay. So I was about to ask how many times you watched Two Girls, One Cup, but obviously one is the answer.
zero. I've never watched it. Once they told me what it was, I said, "Oh no!" Like, and even for me, like with the I guess scat fetish that I had for when I was younger for a second, like once again, like where the fuck did it come from? But I didn't. I wanted it to be solid. Like I didn't want it to be like loose, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Honestly, it could be trauma
Oh,
because there are certain fetishes like I don't know, this is me spitballing the knowledge
okay.
that I learned in my years of taking psychology classes, but there is a certain trauma related to the development years about anal retention and like stuff around anal. I dived into it a while ago because I'm obsessed with anal and I need to know why, because like I don't know, I don't enjoy sex necessarily, penetration. Like I get off on the idea of being used by somebody, but penetration not doesn't necessarily do anything for me unless there's like other stimuli or I'm really into the person, you know? But like anal is a lot more sensitive. So you can get away with a lot more through
Mm-hmm.
that. So I really wanted to fucking question myself because after City at Peace, I wanted to understand every fucking thing about myself, you know? So I learned that there could be a link between being traumatized when you're being potty trained and an obsession with like anal play and poop obsession.
Oh.
So, I mean, maybe that could send you down a path if it's something that you're questioning and don't really understand. I mean, like, it could also just be I'm curious and I want to indulge in this. But it could also just be something happened when you were potty training that kind of traumatized you and made you a little program backwards, I guess.
Wow, that is so interesting. Because I know that not recently, maybe at 23, I had unlocked this memory of my like former best friend's like older brother and like some sexual shit, like trauma that happened with him. And then that's how I found out about porn. Like that was like my first introduction to it. So I'm like, maybe it can go back to that in some way. Maybe there's a memory that has just been so like fucking shut in the back of my head that I just can't remember. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was some form of trauma that like my brain would just like, bitch, you are not gonna remember this right now. Like it will come back to you and give it another 10 years or something when you're ready. I don't know. So
Honestly, it could be.
yeah.
Like, I can tell you for a fact, while reconceptualizing my trauma, it has definitely reframed my kinks.
Mhm.
Like, there are certain things that I'm still kind of into, even though they seem kind of toxic,
Okay.
simply as my position as a masochistic healer.
Okay.
Like I just combine the two. But there are also things that I've like stopped being into after I realized where it was coming from. Oftentimes, like I know for a fact, my first sexual experience was being taken advantage of by my cousin when I
Mm.
used to like, well, the first one that I can remember. Who the fuck knows what happened in like my baby years,
Right.
because I don't fucking remember any of the shit past like 8, you
Yes.
know?
Same.
So
Mhm.
sometimes I worry. It's like, okay, so if I reconceptualize that and I get over what happened, not that I'm like still hung up on it, but still like, damn, that kind of sucked, you
Mhm.
know? So I'm still working through the sexual trauma, but sometimes I'm just like, what if I'm not submissive? And it's just like, I grew up in a household with a very dominating mom. So
Mhm.
it's just what I'm used to. And what if I like being taken advantage of because that's the first sexual experience I had, you know?
Oh, I'm sure that you are not the only person to question that. Like when it comes to like what you like sexually versus like trauma. Like I'm sure that
I feel like everyone should question everything they're into, especially
absolutely.
if you're into weird shit.
Yes, that's why I'm literally going back in my brain now. Like what? Because like I know I'm like super obsessed with squirting. Like that's a thing. I thought it was just because I was gay. Like I mean, there are like I don't care about like watching women get like give each other head. Like I'm like because I don't get off on that like myself. So I'm just like all right, whatever. But like squirting is just something about it. But that makes so much sense. And how do you figure that out? Just with time? Like
You have to really think about it. Like, I feel that when it comes to the super weird shit that somebody can be in, when it comes down to that stuff, it has to be a matter of I like it because I like it, because it feels good, because it makes me happy, because it makes me feel pleasure, you know?
mm-hmm.
And not like because I deserve it, because I'm a piece of shit, so I should be mistreated, because I am better than everyone, so I should have power over people. Not like one of those things, you know? Like I feel like people should really question everything about themselves and come to an understanding of like, okay, like especially the weird shit. I don't think there's anything wrong with being into weird shit.
Yeah,
Just
no.
like don't have it be trauma based because
Yeah.
then you're gonna hurt people. Like it doesn't fucking matter what the hell two consensual adults are doing if they're coming from a clear mindset and doing it because it feels good to them. You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yes, absolutely. Hell yeah. I feel like you should be able to explore with your partner as much
Mm-hmm.
as you want to. Like you said, as long as it comes from a healthy space. I feel like I've tried to bring up the conversation of like my sexual experiences in therapy, and that's helped me out a lot when it comes to figuring out certain things. Like my therapist is the person that told me that I was demisexual. Like I didn't even have the fucking like words for that, so it made sense like why I was trying to have all this casual sex, and then like nothing, I was not getting off at all. Like what the fuck is that about? So so yeah, I feel like a lot of people though are scared, and I can relate. I was scared to tap into like the sexual trauma aspect of things, but I feel like a lot of people are scared just in general to like question their sex at all, like
Yeah.
because they're just in such like a routine or just like such a it's just what they're used to. So they just yeah.
Honestly, and let me like be a conspiracy theorist for a hot second. I feel like sex is so ingrained in our society, and that's why people are so obsessed with it. Like, I be talking shit about Google ads all the fucking time because they started using this one song that is about throwing ass, but the ad is about a computer, you know? So
Oh.
I do not like the correlation between songs being used for sex. For one, it's like, why would you be telling me to drop it low when it's
Mm,
a laptop? You want me to drop your laptop? You want me to break your laptop down? What do
mm,
you mean? What do you mean stop playing with it, red light, green light, go? For one, you just told me to stop playing with it. Don't you want me to play with your gaming laptop? So
damn.
it's like at this point, the sex is so ingrained in our society that it's contradicting what we're even trying to advertise because people are so obsessed with sex. And it's literally in every form of advertisement we have.
Yeah.
It's like spoken about. Even like people always talk about, oh, you can't talk about being gay in school, even though we like force heterosexuality in the
Yeah.
school curriculum. We literally force it in like society with people like so obsessed with like the gender of their child instead of like don't get me wrong, I'm not opposed to celebrating if when you find out the gender of your child, but like the enforcement of that
Right.
is something completely else. As on top of like, I don't know, I feel like it shouldn't matter. I
And
feel
the
like it shouldn't matter.
yeah, they'll be
We
like, oh,
should just be able to live our lives without having heterosexuality and sex forced down our throats, and not like I feel because I don't know. I feel like a lot of the biggest problem with heterosexual males is that they're so traumatized that they're using sex as a means to feel closeness.
yeah.
And it's like I feel like there's nothing wrong with having casual sex. But when you're like trying to have casual sex with somebody that wants meaningful sex and then you're attacking them because they don't want to engage with that and you're trying to use it as like a power play and a dynamic and all this shit instead of just like making sex, it just ruins everything. And
Thank you.
society literally throws sex down our throats everywhere we look.
Yes. But like sex in the patriarchal way. Like it's like, and no, they might have like say women in bikinis or like a woman being sexy, but it's still not like but if I talk about sexual fucking liberation on TikTok, it's like, oh, this is too much. Like, no, no, no. Like, we want sex, but not liberated. Like, oh, women are gonna start like demanding they put their pleasure first. Like, oh, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And
it's a
I don't get it because, like, for one, what is the purpose of slut shaming? Because if men are supposed to have a lot of sex with women, does that imply that these men are supposed to be degrading these women because of no, if you can't want a woman because she's had sex, but you're supposed to have lots of sex with lots of women, where are these women coming from?
thank you.
Like, are you just really going to degrade all of them and make them all have no value? So no man gets to have a woman of value and be happy with someone? Like, what does it even mean? Do you hear yourselves? Can't we just like, for one, why are you shaming women for showing their bodies? Because like, for one, if she's easy, isn't that good for you?
Thank you.
Doesn't
Aren't
that
you
make
attracted?
you sad? Like, don't you want to fuck?
Why are you mad that she wants to fuck, but you want to fuck?
Right? It's like your chances just went up. Why are you making it a problem?
Literally. I can't. And then it's also the reverse thing of like, okay, they feel like, oh, if you're sexually liberated, then you want to have sex all the time. Like, oh, if I'm walking around with a bikini on, I want to have sex. Or if I'm walking around and I'm talking about sex on TikTok, they assume that they can slide in my DM and send me a dick pic. And it's like, no, no, no. Like the liberation is the part where I decide what the fuck happens, like for me
Yeah.
sexually. That's what liberation. Like I define that, and that's defined differently for everybody. Some people are liberated and fucking like five fucking people a week or whatever the case can be. Good on you. You know what I'm saying? Like I wish I was attracted to five motherfuckers, but you know, like yeah, it can look different for everybody. And I think it's really the liberation aspect that be fucking them up. Like I don't know.
Honestly and truly, like, okay, I know it sounds complicated, but well, I guess I can't say this anymore because I'm with my husband.
Okay, yes.
And I'm definitely having sex with him, so my celibacy is over.
Okay, what? Go ahead.
For the longest time, I was celibate
Uh-huh.
outside of the fact that I do porn.
Mm.
Theoretically, well, not theoretically, literally, I started doing porn as a way to heal my sexual trauma because you can't just have a casual sexual relationship with these dudes and still have like I was in I the first fuck buddy I had was like somebody that I would talk to all the time and we would confide in each other and just tell each other like whatever we were like fake boyfriend girlfriend. So it's like one day he was confiding in me that like this girl he had sex with, they were having this STD scare. And I was like, hold up, you're fucking somebody else?
Oh,
What do you mean? Why is this how I'm finding out that you might possibly have an STD? You
oh.
know that I do porn, right? So when you put me at risk, you put all them other motherfuckers at risk too. And that shattered my trauma. And I'm like, okay. I mean, not shattered my trauma. That fucking shattered my trust.
Mhm.
So after that, I was like, okay, I don't want to get into a relationship and have all of this trauma around sex.
Mhm.
But I don't want to have casual sex because these niggas can't be trusted. On top of the fact that a lot of the time they just switch up on you after you get close to them. I don't want to deal with that. So I decided to do porn and ended up like getting my power back, feeling
Okay.
comfortable with sex to the point where it didn't become such a scary thing to me, and I could actually get out of my head and not like because like sex is a very traumatizing subject for me.
Yeah.
Literally, like having sex as a child in your parents' house, not a fun thing, especially living in a household where like your first experience with because like to bring it back, I
Mhm.
grew up with a sex addiction from being molested at a young age, and I was molested by a lot of people.
Mhm. I'm
So
so
it just kind of was bad. So there was a lot of shame associated with sex because I would always masturbate thinking about how if my mom knew what I was doing, she would
sorry.
be mad at me and she would be really ashamed. And that was always what I was thinking. Like if my teachers knew what I was doing, they would be mad at me too. So to like use porn as a way to like not only take my power back and be like, okay, so I'm going to work with this person. I'm comfortable doing this on camera. I'm comfortable with this. And I always say that my producer fucked up the game for everybody, including the regular niggas, because I've only worked with one producer
Oh.
because he is a gem. He is a gem. He literally, like, for one, he would talk to me before we had sex, just regular ass conversation.
Huh.
And you can't even get that from a lot of these niggas.
Exactly.
And then
Literally. You gotta.
and then after I decided I was gonna quit, he was like, okay, you sure about that? Like I respect your decision. I'm not gonna pressure you. But like also what if I pay you more?
You're like, well, actually.
Like, when somebody is respecting you as a person,
Yes.
constantly hyping you up after, like
Yes.
they pay for your cab and they say, okay, well, what if I go from paying you 600 to 1,000? I'm like, you're gonna pay me $1,000 just so you can have sex with me?
Wow.
Good sex with me where I feel appreciated after? Oh, how you gonna do this to me?
Well, not.
I'm down. Come on. You know, on top of that, like plus he pays for my cabs. He'll
Wow.
feed me if I want. Like I don't know if he still is, but at one point he was my sugar daddy.
Okay. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Yes.
Mind you, I wasn't giving him anything extra outside of just the porn that we were
Right.
shooting. He was
Right.
just giving like that man is the reason I have a Switch right now.
A switch on the actual switch?
Yeah, like the fucking the game system.
Oh my god. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. You're like, oh, let me go get my switch. Got it. The switch, the game. Nintendo.
You know, and when that is what you're being faced with, why would you want to have sex with these regular niggas that are going to switch up on you and like lie to you and not tell you the truth and like come with you with drama and feelings? Well, not even the feelings. I can handle feelings, but like the false feelings. I can't take the false feelings and the insecurities, you know?
Pseudo
So
feelings.
like
Yes.
he ruined it for everybody. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent. I know there was an initial point that I was making, and then I started talking about porn. Do you remember the question?
I don't know. I'm following you. The initial question was the dirtiest sexual fantasy, but then we started talking about BDSM and kink, and then we started talking about I don't know, but I have more questions about porn. So if you want to steer into that, I'm totally okay with that too. But
Sure.
if you end up remembering your initial point in regards to before we steered, then just like go like this, and then like I'll just come back.
All right, yeah. Let's talk about porn.
Yes, okay. So how did you get into it? Like, how did you know like what the steps would be to be able to have like a safe, peaceful career?
I just go off of vibes.
Okay, shit. No, yeah, that's a thing.
Not gonna lie. I grew up, so like when I was growing up, I would take pictures of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also a dumb bitch, so I'd put them on my mom's computer, and despite the fact they were hidden, she would find them. And I remember her telling me one day, "Oh, you're gonna do porn, aren't you?" And I was like, "No, I would never, because if things had gone the way I wanted them to, I would be saving myself for marriage."
Actually,
You know?
manifesting from porn.
But I grew up with a sex addiction
Uh-huh.
and really terrible sexual morals. Like I used to like use my body as a way of making people love me and feeling loved and getting affection and attention, and like using it to justify people's feelings,
Mm.
and then like didn't want to like do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, one day I was asking myself, okay, so I have all this trauma. What do I want to do about it? And the
Mm-hmm.
little voice in the back of my head that I like to follow said, why don't you do porn? And I was like, no, 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 you don't mean that. You don't mean that. You don't mean that. Like, I don't want to have sex with anybody outside of who I'm in a relationship. That's not who I am. A few months went by, asked myself the question again. The voice said the same thing. So I said, fine, you know what? Let's see what happens. I made a profile on Sexy Jobs.
Okay.
I was going to see what I got, who responded to me. If anything felt right, I would pursue it. The first person I ended up talking to, I think was he a producer or a talent agent, something like that. Basically, he was going to like get my face out there and like help me find people. So we did a photo shoot together, but like the entire time I'm like putting down my foot. I'm not comfortable doing this. I don't want to do that. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to change this about my body. And he's like, oh, you're going to have to change if you want to X, Y, and Z. And you're going to have to like be like this. And I'm like, no, I got into the field so that I can like stop letting people take advantage of me and like, have my power back. So I didn't work with him anymore. I got some pretty nice pictures from that time, which I always appreciate, as well as like the memory of like, yes, I did it. I went into the cornfield. Some guy tried to tell me to change, and I said no.
Yep. That's big. Like that really is. That takes a lot of fucking like courage, and yeah, no, I'm proud of you.
Yeah. So then, went back to talking to people. I was talking to a bunch of producers. Nobody really like followed through until I got to Mike Dirty, who I make films with now. He's possibly a godsend because I think he is a gem of a person. I always tell people that he is great to me. I do not know what he is like with other people, but he spoils the fuck out of me. I do not understand why I have such a magical pussy, but he appreciates it and he treats me good because of it.
Period.
I will take it.
Yeah.
So I shot with him, and the first time, like I was super nervous. He had me sign the paperwork. We started out just by talking, just like about our day. And he was like, are you ready? Are you comfortable? Do you want to start now? What are you comfortable doing? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I was like, well, it's my first time. I'm really not comfortable. I don't want to do oral. And like, he's never, not once, pressured me to do oral, even when like we've worked with another guy and he's like, oh yeah, I want them to suck my dick. And he's like, nah, she don't do that.
Wow,
So like he always had my back. There's a guy I don't like working with because like literally we were working together one day and we were fucking and having an argument, and I was like, I'm about to call rape. I need you to stop right now. So I had to like stop because that's how much I hated him. And I'm like, Mike, I never want to work with this dude again.
Wow.
And just after that, so like we just started talking. The first shoot went really great. I was beaming after because he was like complimenting me, and like I just made money. He was like, I told him like, you can't touch me until you pay me. He was respectful of that. We smoked before that. And it's just like, that turned into a continuous thing until I was like at a point where it's like, okay, sex doesn't feel so uncomfortable. I feel like I can let go. I feel like I can like I don't compare doing porn to how I like regular sex, because when I do porn, I'm here. If not here, my consciousness does not go past my body. And if it's in my body, it's just me me seeing how my body is reacting to the pleasure, seeing if it's like, oh, is that a pain reaction? Is there a way I can make that more pleasurable? Because like, I don't know. I'm very submissive. So even in porn, like I let Mike pretty much do what he wants because he's gonna stay within my boundaries. Even if he pushes it a little bit, it's still pushing in a manner that I am comfortable with him pushing. You
Yeah.
know? So I allow myself to be in that submissive mindset and just like enjoy the sex. Cause like I don't know, I feel like that's the closest I got to a healthy sexual relationship.
Wow.
Like it is like the closest that I got to a sugar daddy relationship, and like I don't, like honestly, it's a weird intro to the porn world because Mike is a dude making his own films. Like he is shooting and editing all this stuff by himself. He's been doing this since like the 80s, the 70s.
Wow.
Man was like selling VHSs to fucking porn stores. I feel like I could walk into a certain porn store at this point and see my face on the shelf. I'm terrified of that happening, but I also want to see it happen.
Duality.
Yeah. So it's like there's also the fact that like he's a hoarder.
Oh,
So
wow.
like he'll hoard his favorite scenes. So it's like I know even if we shoot porn, I got paid for it. There's a chance that nobody's ever gonna see it.
Got it. I got you. Shit. Yeah. Well, at least you got paid.
Yep. That's all that's how I see it, you know? Like he spoils the fuck out of me, which made it difficult because it's like if he's gonna pay me, he's gonna feed me. Like I ask him for weed, he gives me weed. The last two times I saw him, I was like, "Can I have some weed?" And he just handed me a container
Yes.
and his jar, and he was like, "Take what you want." And I'm like, "I'm gonna make you regret that."
Yes.
And
Don't tell
after
what?
that, and after that, he was like, "I have no regrets. Everybody should be smoking." And I'm like, "This is why I fuck with you. You're so good to me." So
Wow.
it's like, if I'm getting that, why would I want to have sex with somebody who might not be as pleasurable for me? And does it make me feel even as safe as my porn? Like, if you can't make me feel as safe as my porn producer does, what are you doing?
Thank you. What the fuck are you doing? Literally, take notes, actually. Shit.
That's
So,
a fact.
so are you still currently working with him? Or are you still currently doing porn at all?
I am
Okay.
because $1,000 is a lot of money.
Oh, the fuck yeah. What?
And my current job does not fucking pay. Like if I could, I already said if I could do 5 consecutive shoots and get like ahead of rent, I'm gonna quit my job and
Yeah,
just focus on trying to find something that actually brings me joy.
got you.
You know, like I'm thinking about my partner and I have been talking about making porn ourselves. And I
Oh,
feel because like my audience, they want to see me get fucked so bad. And they're just suffering because like how are you gonna like unless I don't think Mike would be opposed to me propping a camera up and recording our scenes and then just selling it however,
right.
you know, because technically I'm pretty sure if I hound him about it, because like he once said that if I wanted my films, he'll give them to me, you know,
Okay.
and then I can post them where I want and then do what
Oh,
I want with them, you know. I just don't hound him on it because I'm only there for the trauma and the money.
got it.
I don't really care about the rest of this shit. Like you know, I don't mind people seeing me in that manner because like the way I look at it, you can I don't believe in that, oh, where's the imagination aspect? Just because you can see me doesn't mean you know what I taste like, doesn't know
Yeah,
you mean what I feel like. You can't feel the pulsing on your dick from the video, you know? Some
that
people
part.
don't even know that's happening. So I don't care, like, fuck your imagination. Obviously, your imagination is small and you're not even getting the right shit out of sex if the visual is all you need.
Yes. Ooh. Mic drop. If this was a mic, I would drop it.
But that's pretty much like how I got into it. And like I don't know, like despite like to this day, Mike still makes me feel good. You know, we still talk. Like it's hilarious to me. Like we talk about his son, we
Oh,
talk about our relationships, we talk about like literally life. I love it. Like he'll tell me about his worldviews, and I'm just like I don't agree, but I love hearing you talk about this shit because it's just like what fucking if, you know?
yeah.
Because like last time he was saying some shit to me and I'm like I mean if you detach yourself from the scientific aspect and you just think
Uh-huh.
about it from a spiritual plane, possibly
It could
possibly my nigga,
work.
you know, and it's like I don't get that with a lot of people. So it's still like I still feel safe with him.
Wow.
I still feel respected by him. He's still like last time our last shoot was really short because it was after work and then I had work the next day. So he was respectful of my time. So I'm like, you still treating me good. And my
Yeah.
current partner doesn't mind me doing this, which
Okay.
like love him extra for that
Yeah,
because I've
absolutely.
had relationships fall apart. Like my shortest relationship was like 25 minutes because we got together. Well, this dude that I'd met for the first time, he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna flip this coin. And when it comes up, I'll be your girlfriend or not. It came up with me being his girlfriend. And
Okay.
I was like, okay, we started talking. I was like, okay, so I do porn. And he was like, oh, you got to stop that. And I was like, no, are you going to pay my bills? The fuck do you mean I got to stop that?
What?
So then we broke up right after.
Yeah, what the fuck? Like reflip that coin, motherfucker.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. People ask me all the time. It's like, would you have a problem if you were dating a porn star? It's like, why would I be dating a porn star if I had a problem with them doing porn?
Right.
Because like more than likely they were doing porn before. But even though like my partner doesn't do porn, but all the time I'm just like, you know, you have a big dick. They love that. And he's like, oh, well, you know, I don't know because I have a hard time coming. And I'm just like, okay, so does Brick. Like I shot with Brickzilla one time, which apparently nobody knows because apparently that video never got released.
Wow.
But Brick is he's a really big dude. I'm pretty sure he fucked up my IUD when we had sex. That was the first time I had to tell Mike, no, I can't anymore. We need to stop right here. Can you
Yeah.
send me home? I'm so sorry.
The
Because he was
IUD.
about to hit it too. And I'm like, I'm sorry, he fucked me up. I can't.
Oh, isn't that you think he shoved it up like the IUD?
Possibly, like I think it was because like I had just gotten it,
Oh,
like I think within the week. So like, and he was like, nobody in the porn world is gentle with me. Just because I can handle it doesn't mean they have to beat me up like this. But nobody in the porn world is gentle with me. They see that I can handle it and they just go ham. So that's what he did. You
okay.
know, so I'm like, you know, Brick didn't finish. And Brick, they were talking about how Brick never finishes. So it's like, if you got a big dick, you can fake it. Because Mike was talking about, oh, you want to fake it? We can always fake it. You know, we just use some fake lube. And I'm
Okay.
just like, so if you're down, like he'll like if you I'm to always tell him like if you want to try, I can hit Mike up. We can see, get a little money. We can see together. You know,
Yes.
like I'm telling him all the time. Like I'm pretty sure Mike would love that because he has never gotten an oral scene from me. But
Oh,
like if my boyfriend shoots, we can get an oral scene. You know, I'm pretty sure everybody would love that.
do you feel like oral is too intimate, like for your
Yeah,
like it's just your boundary, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like because of like I have a very traumatized body.
Yes.
You know, I have the ability to turn off my sensation to feel if I don't want to feel anything anymore because of how many times I've been raped and molested, you know? So
Mhm.
it's like, fuck, what's the question?
No, it's okay. It's about oral, and if it's too intimate.
Oh, yes, yes. But like, so I can detach from sex, but like oral is something you should be fully engaged in. Like, you
Yeah.
know, even if you're like letting somebody face fuck you, you still have to like be allowing of it. Otherwise, you're
Right.
just going to be choking the
Right.
entire time. And like, I mean, that's not pleasurable for everybody. Some people it is, but not everybody, you
Yeah. No.
know? Because
Yeah.
like, even if you're forcing somebody to do something, you still kind of want them to like be allowing of it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. I understand.
Unless you're super into them fighting, but then, you know, that's something you got to talk about. Anyway, that is like if I put your dick in my mouth, that's how you know I love you because I am a sex repulsed germaphobe and like I don't want to think about penises. They scare me.
Yeah, they're fucking
So
terrifying. They're ugly.
yeah, so like if I'm putting it in my mouth, if I'm allowing myself to process your gross ass skin penis taste, especially if it's like been in your pants all day and it tastes like slightly stale penis until it gets that spitty taste.
Oh, yeah.
I have to really like you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, and that reminds me when you said sex repulse, that's what we were talking about before we started talking about your producer. You were saying that back at home when you would masturbate, you would feel shame thinking about your mom and your teachers, and then you said you were sex repulsed and then had a sex addiction.
Doesn't that just sound like such a fun combo though?
Right. Like how do you navigate that? Like sex repulse. So sex repulsed would mean like complete like what it says, repulsed by sex as a whole. And would you still
Mm.
have sex when you were sex repulsed? Like consensually?
Yeah, because like, okay, so like, let's just think about this in the context of my current partner. 9 years ago, broke me as a person. Made
Mm.
me realize that I was living a lie. And I like when I turned 19 was the year that I decided that I wasn't going to be who my mom wanted me to be anymore.
This
And
is
I started living for myself. I met him shortly after. And then after I lost him, I realized that I was actually what my mom wanted me to be. And I hated myself and I didn't know what love was. And I didn't know what self love was. And I wasn't loving myself. I wasn't like being kind to myself. I wasn't allowing myself to be in pain and then get over the things that I was dealing with. So, like, going through that experience made me realize that, like, I was using sex as a way to make people like me. I wasn't just having sex. Like, I will say that I feel like it's just part of my personality to be a heathen.
okay.
Like, I'm totally down to slut it up
Uh-huh.
with the person I'm with, even in a, what's the word? Not polygamous because that's relationship, but in like an open,
Relationship.
like an orgy setting. I'm down to clown if I like the people and I feel safe and I actually want to engage
Yeah.
in a non-relationship type of way, you know?
Yeah.
But like that's not what it was. It was just me trying to use my body and like using something that I already felt that was taken away from me
Mhm.
in a manner where I could like, like I didn't realize until later on in life that I didn't actually enjoy sex.
Mhm.
Like I enjoy being used by the person I want to use me. There are like moments and positions that feel pleasurable, but like strict penetration, not doing anything for me, which is why I can't like do one night stands and like
Yeah.
flings because like if I'm not obsessed with you, what is the purpose? Like if your pleasure isn't going to cause my orgasms, why do it? You
Yes.
know?
Yes.
So like I know there's a part of me that is really into sex.
Okay.
And like that part really comes out like when I do oral. Like God forbid your dick is in my mouth and you moan. Oh, it's over. You know? But like at the same time, it's such a vulnerable thing to me because sex means so much to me.
Yes.
At like even I don't know, I think because it means so much to me is why it repulses me so much and
Mhm.
just and plus the germophobia because
Yes.
the human body is a disgusting thing and I spend 90% of my energy trying not to think about the tardigrades that live on my eyes.
Oh,
So like I don't even want to think about like the rest of them and the colonies of bacteria that sprout all over the body.
fucking mouth is disgusting.
Yes, are you aware of the fact that if you make out with somebody, their spit alters your DNA?
No, no, no. Oh, oh, no wonder I'm fucked up because I have their shit in me.
Yes. So it's like you have to be really careful who you like exchange energy with.
Yes.
But
Yes.
like it definitely wasn't coming from a good place, and nor was I really considering the fact that I wasn't enjoying it.
Mhm. Yeah. That I feel like a lot of like when it comes to trauma and sex, it's very hard. Like that's a common based on the conversations I've been having, like that's a common consensus. Like it nobody talks about how long it takes for you to get comfortable and be able to enjoy sex again after experiencing whether it be back-to-back trauma, one experience of trauma, whatever the case may be. And like I wish there was a class or a course because I know like on the interview like with things that you wanted to learn. You had asked me, I think it was how how to enjoy sex more. Is that what it was? Let me see. I have it written down. How to enjoy sex more. Um, and I feel like that's something that I'm still navigating as well, like especially after trauma, because you have so much shit. Like, okay, consent, number fucking one. Aftercare, absolute motherfucking must as well. Like, I need you to actually care about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
just, and those are just top three, but like there's so much like STD testing. Like, do you give a fuck about that? Like, and just sexual health in general. Like, if I say stop, are you going to continue or to fucking push it? Or are you going to like fully stop and ask me what's wrong? Or like ask me what to change? You know, like it's all those things that we now have to think about, but as opposed to someone who may either not be tapped into their trauma or whatever the case may be, they just, it would just like go out and fuck and like just be not even unconscious is not the word, like not literally unconscious, but just not have to be that conscious about it and just be able to be like, I don't know. But then I'm like, sometimes I feel like that can start like a whole other thing with like a whole other kind of relationship with sex, you know? So it's like it's stressful, low key.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel like everybody should kind of have that relationship with sex in general.
I agree.
It's like we're sharing our bodies, you know, it's intimate and vulnerable, and it shouldn't just be a in and out kind of thing. You
Yeah.
know, even if it's just a casual sex type of thing, can we at least have a moment of friendship around it?
Oh my
And
God. Sorry.
like I just feel like people need to be more in tune. Like I feel like people need to have the BDSM conversation around casual sex
Yes.
because there are still boundaries with casual sex. There's still things that you like go into sex wanting to do. Like for one, people shouldn't be out here having sex if they don't care about their partner's pleasure.
Yes.
Like at least a simple "Did you come?" something like that. You should care if they come, you know, or at the very least, ask if they can come and if they're comfortable with not coming,
Thank
you know?
you. That's the part. Exactly. Because men have asked me, like, did you come? And then I'll say no. And then it's like, oh, like, what you about to do about it? Like, I don't have my toy with me. Like, so yes, I agree.
Oh, your dick is soft, but your hands are good.
And all I need is just a finger or two.
Right? All you gotta do is just curve it a little bit, hit the G spot. It'll take maybe 30 seconds.
1 to 2 inches in, brother. One between 1 and 3. You know, just a little. It's right there. It's not that deep. Like really, it's
You
insane.
know, and if it's hard for you to find it, it's the sus spot, you know, the spot that feels different from the entire thing. It's like, oh, that feels a little weird. How does this feel? You like that? Oh, I think they like that.
I think they like that. Please, if you're listening to this, watch this on camera. Like, watch it on YouTube, wherever the fuck this goes. Like, this is fucking hilarious. But yes, 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 yes. Like, to every fucking thing. I totally agree. And there's this notion that, oh, and the, once again, is some propaganda shit that, like, you, like, people should know what I want. No, I think that you should have conversations. How the fuck is somebody supposed to know that?
That's a fact. It's like unless you like you have like a sign in your room stating your kinks and what you want out of sex,
Right.
nobody should know what the hell you want. And even then, you might have to direct them to the sign.
Thank you. And thank you. Exactly. Yes, absolutely. I feel like people, it's okay to give suggestions, to remind, to let people know what you like in the middle of the bedroom, whatever the case may be. And to remind, the only thing I don't feel like you should have to remind somebody about is consent. I feel like I understand it's a foreign concept to some, but I do feel like it's 2023. Can we be conscious about that at least? But I know everybody's not. So oh, this is fucking great. I'm having so much fun. Okay. So I wanted to ask you, so now with your porn career, do you feel like you are still healing from it? Like, you know how it was healing for you in the beginning to be able to find your power again? Like, do you feel like you still
Oh
feel
yeah,
in it? Yeah.
yeah. Because now I have to take it to the next step, and that's have sex with vulnerability.
Yes.
Now it's not just about being in my head. Now it's about connecting to somebody and actually allowing myself to be vulnerable emotionally. And
Wow.
that's hard. Like with my partner, I was hoping that between our initial breakup and us getting back together, I would have so many relationships in which I would feel that like I could heal relationship trauma because I'm sure as you know that there are certain traumas you can't tackle on your own because there's you need a trigger.
Mm.
And like you need to be triggered so then you can choose to do something different
Ooh.
until your habit change, you know? And if you're not in serious relationships, those serious relationship triggers aren't going to come up. So I didn't get to like deal with a lot of that.
Yes.
So like now it's a case of like I was warning my partner, I don't know if I want to have sex with you because I want to give you everything. And if I have sex with you, I'm going to want more of you. And then the demon is going to come out and I'm going to want more of you sexually. And then I'm going to have a hunger for you. And like, for one, this nigga is the reason that my little side sees the light of day.
Mhm.
Before him, that was a part of me that I knew about and kept hidden in the darkness. And he came into my life and was like, "What was that? Give it to me. I want it. It's mine now." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Come on, say it. Call me daddy. Do it." I'm like, What do you mean? You can't just take it like that." And now I can't put that bitch away. Now that's like technically the part of me that comes out the most.
Wow.
Because why am I going to fight my inner child? I don't want to grow the fuck up. I stopped aging mentally and physically at 19. That is
Wow.
the most you're going to get me. And technically, the way I see it now, I'm 12 because I started living at 19. So now I'm just 12,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
So,
Heck
but when you
that.
like mix that and you give somebody your innocence, your hope, your vulnerability, it kind of, well, it drives me crazy because being vulnerable means that you can be hurt. And it's like I try to be in a space of like, okay, I understand where our relationship was then. It's something new now. We're two different people,
Mhm.
healed from the shit that came up with new realizations. That's what I want to come in this with. But because there's still the sexual trauma and the attachments, now that comes up because we have a sexual relationship. And that's something that I not only have to deal with, but keep him in tune with. So like he knows this is like if we do this, I'm probably gonna act a little crazy because
Mm.
now I have my expectations for you have risen because I've given you this vulnerability, but also I have the added responsibility of sitting with those feelings and being like, is this feeling genuine? Am I really being wronged here? Or is this a trauma response? Am
Mm.
I like, is it just a perception of my feeling? You know? And
Yeah.
like now I'm dealing with that. And it's like the porn put me in a place where it's like my body isn't locking up all the time. I'm
Okay.
not like, oh, this feels uncomfortable. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know how to relax and put myself in a mind space of like, I trust this person, let them use you, let like just be in the moment. Now it's like, okay, this is a person that I love and I'm allowing them into my body and I'm letting the barriers down and I'm giving them my energy and I'm taking in their energy and I'm like, in this moment with them. This isn't work. This is a moment that we are sharing together. This is me giving you all of me not being in that headspace that I was when I was a kid having sexual relationships where it's like I just want you to like me. I just want you to like keep me safe where it's no, this person does like me. This person promised to keep me safe and is trying to keep me safe. It's okay to be a power bottom and
Mhm.
just allow yourself to be in that submissive mindset and be in that allowing mindset and just enjoy the moment.
Yes. 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 That sounds so beautiful, especially after like all of the healing that you've done. You know what I'm saying? To allow yourself to continue to heal throughout this relationship, but then also like take it one step further when it comes to the vulnerability and like having a partner who's able to support that. I think that that is fucking beautiful. And you said that you've known him for 10 years, you said?
For the most part. We met in like 2014 and had a very fast-paced, explosive relationship and then talked for a few years. Like, honestly, the relationship in itself is fucking weird
Okay.
because it's just like I don't know, he literally lives in my brain 24/7. I'm constantly thinking about him, drawn to him. He brings out things in me that nobody else can, things I'm not even aware of myself, which is why I'm terrified of him
Yeah.
because it's like the first time I met him, I was like, oh, this guy, he has the power to destroy me. I'm gonna run away. And I was just so encapsulated by him that I could not run away
Mm.
and just got destroyed to the point where I decided to go on a whole healing journey because when he came back into my life, I wanted to be healed. And I loved him so much that it made me want to love me the way I loved him, you
Ooh.
know?
Ooh, yeah. That's a quote. That is a fucking quote. Wow.
Yeah. So it's like we didn't talk for a majority of those 10 years, but after like he came back into my life and like for one, like I call it a twin flame relationship because it just feels like he's a part of my soul. He
Yeah.
feels like the masculine to the feminine, to my
Okay.
feminine, you know? And it just feels like I can be unhinged myself with him, you know?
As you should,
So
yeah.
like and the whole thing was weird. Like when we met, I remember I noticed that he had followed me to the back of the train platform, which weirded me out because
Yeah.
it was I didn't know if it was a coincidence. All I know is I walked past him and he went from the middle of the platform to the back of the platform because I went to the last car and he
Okay.
kept staring at me the entire time. And I was like, oh, I hate that. But I didn't like if you stare at me in public, I'll get scared.
Yeah, absolutely.
It will weird
Yeah.
me out. But like he was staring at me and I was like, that's weird. I kind of want him to stop. And then my brain said, maybe if I wave at him, he'll leave me alone.
We love your brain.
Thinking, but like thinking back on it years later, I'm like, what do you mean? That's the opposite of what happens when you wave at somebody. But then he took that as his opportunity to come talk to me.
Your soul was like, you must wave. It knew what it was doing.
Yeah, and I kind of recognized him as like, I don't know, a significant person when I was looking through his sketchbook because I asked to see his sketchbook. For one, I sized him up and noticed he was wearing Converse, and he
Okay.
was like talking to me. He was like, "Can I take you out for ice cream?" Which he had me at ice cream because niggas never want to take you out for ice cream. They always want to inebriate you, and that was the first person to ever ask me to do something fun. You
Wow.
know, I love ice
Yeah.
cream. I'm into that shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I was looking through his sketchbook, and I was like, "Who are you? You draw exactly the way I want to draw."
Wow.
And like you know, and like you listen to him talk about that moment too. He said that he was having a shitty ass day and like seeing me changed his life.
Oh my God. Of
And
course.
I'm just like, I'm glad that you still tell people about the way we met because I still tell people about the way we met too. And it was one of those situations where I still baffled where it's like I realized he had the power to destroy me. I realized I wanted to give him everything. I told myself I was running away
Wow.
and I didn't go anywhere, you
Wow.
know?
So I know that y'all are loving this episode, but we actually ended up filming for 3 hours. So we are going to have a part 2 of this episode. But I wanted to make sure that I included the part where the Gross Demon Alex Monroe told us where we can follow them for all of their life updates and everything that they're up to. So I'm going to include that part right here. And also, this is just a gentle reminder again to be sure to join my Patreon. We have so much going on that side, y'all. I even have a tier for people who might not be able to afford the full different kinds of tiers with all of the extra exclusive content. I wanted to be able to include y'all so you can attend the sleepovers and things like that. So feel free to sign up on Patreon, and also don't forget to sign up for my Pleasure Positive email list. I'm so excited for y'all. I'm going to put the link in the description, and I'm also going to put all of the Gross Demon Alex Monroe's information in the description as well. But let's tune in to where they tell us all about where we can follow them. Please let everyone know where they can find you, whether it be social media, websites, etc., whatever you want to put out there.
Okay, so y'all can follow me on Instagram at unperf. Follow my OnlyFans, The Gross Demon. I'm also on Twitter at Alex Shin at ATDAHM at the M. It used to be ATM, but then people kept making ass to mouth jokes, and like that's not what it means. So Alex Shin, ATM, if you want to listen to me scream into the void, usually I just complain about fucking the MTA and just boast about fucking One Piece. Or at the Gross Demon, if you ever want to see if I post on on OnlyFans, or I'm trying to engage more over there, but also follow my OnlyFans, thegrossdemon.com. I mean, OnlyFans youtube.com/the Gross Demon.
Yes, I will put all of this in the description as well. So everybody will know. And how do you spell your Instagram at name if anybody's typing in it right now?
UNPERF. Actually, no, let me plug the fucking art one too. There's also my art page where I post all the art shit that I do. It's just a bunch of dolls and paintings, which is spontaneous, chaotic creations with a period between everything.
Now I'm about to go follow you right now. Am I following that page?
I don't think so. I don't think anybody really knows about that page.
No, okay, come on. You putting yourself out there. We appreciate it. I'm gonna find it. Okay, I'm gonna find it afterwards through your other page. But okay, yes,
Okay.
yes. And all of this again will be in the description. Any other plugs or are you all set?
I mean, I have a YouTube, but like, actually, if you're here, you're probably going to be into my YouTube because my YouTube channel is literally just me vlogging and trauma dumping.
That's what we fucking love over here.
Like, that is honestly my therapy, is just me talking to myself about what I'm experiencing on camera and then just talking myself through it. And that's, I believe the URL is youtube.com/the Gross Demon, but it also might be youtube.com/Sabaku Shinju because my YouTube page is almost as old as YouTube.
You're an OG.
Yeah.
Or an OY, an original YouTuber.
I was posting videos. My first video on YouTube is me at a talent show in middle school, which was 2010.
Oh, I want to see it now.
Like that's how long I've been on YouTube. There's literally like videos of me bleaching my hair and just talking about my life and like talking about my brand. Like if you go back, you will learn way too much about me if you go back on my YouTube channel.
Let me go down this rabbit hole real fast. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you for being you. Thank you to your inner child for showing up. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank y'all for listening. This is yet another episode of the Love Atia Experience. Don't forget to give yourself a hug for me.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to come back.
Of course. Yes, I can't wait for you to come back. I'm already planning it out in my head. Oh my gosh. And then the Gross Demon Alex Monroe will be featured in Project Pleasure. How could I not freaking mention that? Like literally, I'm so excited. Y'all are going to absolutely love it. And yeah, stay tuned for that. So thank you so much. Love you so much. I'm sending hugs and love. And
yes, everyone listening, remember that you are loved. Thank you for indulging in our bullshit today. And remember that even though you feel alone, there is somebody out there that appreciates you.
yes, absolutely. That's the best sign up ever. I'm not saying shit. Yes. I second that. Bye, y'all.